After recent news, the Eagles have interviewed Bobby Slowik. Look. The more information I get from y'all, the more he looks like the guy, because Slowik did call plays. He called plays in C.J. Stroud best year ever as a football player, rookie of the year. He called plays. Slowik might be the guy. He might be the guy. Not only that, we want to figure out who it is that's going to take Christian Parker's job, man. Who's going to do a job decent enough to substitute Christian Parker? We got people talking about who they rather have. Some guys that's out there right now. You know, what if we can move a coach within to that spot? How about Joe is it Joe Casper? How about Joe Casper? I remember Cooper DeJean talking about Joe Casper, and he had him in the same conversation with Christian Parker. Maybe he's not the defensive coach like Christian Parker, but he knew enough for Cooper DeJean to put him in the mix. That's something to think about. Ike Reese talks about people shying away from the Philadelphia Eagles job. He talks about if that's a real thing, people not want to take this, that it's not interesting to OCs. We're going to get into that kind of conversation. Also, Jalen Hunt. Are we forgetting how good of a season Jalen Hunt had? I'm going to be real with you. I did. It was a quiet assassin type season. Quiet assassin. And you could take the picks out. Take the picks out. And just strictly talk about him as a pass rusher. Strictly talk about a pass rusher. And he had a quietly assassin type game in this year. And he can get better. Let's get into it. Say I done failed many times, but I got back up. I've been drugged through the mud, like it ain't been enough. I'm still going, 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 still going. And I done felt so much pain that I want to give up, but I can't stop now, cause I've been through too much. I'm still going, 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 still going. All right, look. Ike Reese talks. Ike Reese talks about us not being a candidate, like people not being intrigued or interested in coaching or being an OC for us. Let's roll the tape.
When I hear someone may not be as excited to take this job because they look at how difficult it could be to coach a Jalen Hurts from a schematic standpoint, things he could fit into, things he wouldn't fit into, how you have to sort of adapt your offense around him. You know what I hear when I hear people who don't want to accept that? You don't want to accept the challenge of being a coach, which is trying to be adaptable to players, recognizing a player's strengths and weaknesses and adapting your ideologies and philosophies from an offensive standpoint to what that player can do to get the most out of that player. I think the Eagles have identified Jalen as the quarterback. And so now I need coaches that are going to be committed to getting the best out of Jalen, seeing the strengths that he has as a quarterback, accentuating those things, staying away from things he necessarily isn't comfortable with. Doesn't mean you can't challenge him at times to be a better quarterback, but trying to force him to be something that he's not to me is a waste of time. So I want someone that's willing to accept that challenge of getting the most out of Jalen Hurts.
Let me be real with these people, man. If it's the same thing I said when we had competition, we brought in Jalen Hurts for Carson Wentz to get better. Iron sharpens iron, right? And he was no longer interested in playing because we drafted the kid. We didn't want him no way. If that's how you gonna act, if your heart beat Kool-Aid, you don't need to be here. You don't need to be here. It take a certain kind of character to be able to coach, own, GM, and play for the Philadelphia Eagles. It take a certain type of character. And people know, you know better than we do. If you ain't got that, but that's the best move. Don't even come. Don't even come. Don't even come here. You know what I'm saying? Don't even come. Because you ain't doing nothing but delaying the inevitable. You know what I'm saying? If you got heart, you can come to Philly. You got heart, and you going to fight through all of it anyway, come on to Philly. It's perfect for you. It's perfect for you. Let's get into it. Look. Christian Parker being gone. And that is a big loss. That no Rooney. That is a big loss. But I'm going to let the video play with some of the names that might be on there. Y'all let me know who y'all would like to see in there. And I tell you who I don't mind seeing in there.
Some bad news for the Philadelphia Eagles. It looks like their defensive backs coach and defensive pass game coordinator Christian Parker is leaving the Eagles to become the new Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator and replacing Matt Eberflus under Brian Schottenheimer. Parker has developed Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean into becoming first-team All-Pros here in 2025. He coached up Patrick Surtain with the Denver Broncos, Jair Alexander when he was an All-Pro with the Green Bay Packers. And when I was at the Super Bowl last year in New Orleans asking players who a rising star on the coaching staff was, every defensive player pointed right at Christian Parker. He was with Vic Fangio in Denver, retained by Sean Payton after Nathaniel Hackett, and brought to Philadelphia by Fangio going into 2024. And this is a massive loss for this Eagles coaching staff. Philadelphia now looking for a new offensive coordinator. Now they're looking to replace Christian Parker. A name to watch, Denard Wilson, who was with the Eagles a few years ago coaching up their DBs. He's not being retained by Robert Saleh as the Titans defensive coordinator.
Yeah. Joe Casper was brought up by Cooper DeJean. That was enough for me. That was enough for me. Joe Casper coming in, helping with, he said Christian Parker, I wouldn't be half the player without him. And you know, him and Joe Castle in there. So I don't know, it just seemed like he passing the baton. If they go out and get one, I mean, it is what it is. Joe Casper's still there. So if they go out and get one, it ain't like I'm gonna be ranting on about it. But Joe Casper could be your man. He could be your man. You know, and Christian Parker, I hope for you in the most Philadelphia way possible. I hope for you to have the terriblest season ever as a defensive coordinator. I hope you have the worst season ever as a defensive coordinator. Go coach somebody else. You had the Green Bay Packers out there. So, you know, I hope you are terrible as a defensive coordinator. Let's get into this Jalen Hunt. Jalen Hunt was quietly having a great season. For him, let's not forget he came out of Christian Maryland or something like that. He came out of school nobody really know of. He started off as a safety and converted into DN. He was a safety first to convert into DN, come to the Eagles, and in his rookie season contributes right away. In his second year as a Eagle, he leads this team in sacks and interceptions. That man was balling. He amongst the top of our defensive line. He was balling. But EJ got some numbers for you, man. EJ got some, I think it's EJ or Bo Wolf. I think it was Bo Wolf got some numbers for you. We're going to go ahead and look at it right now.
So, you know, I like to do the quarterback hit rate. How often do they hit the quarterback when they are charged with rushing the passer? Now, quarterback hits are there's a little bit of subjectivity in them, but not nearly to the extent of pressures, but it's a little bit more tangible. Where did Jalen Hunt rank in the NFL this season in quarterback hit rate among players who had at least 200 edge rush snaps? He hit over 300. Do you have the graphic for us, Lindsay? He ranked fourth in the entire league behind Zach Allen, Byron Young, Myles Garrett, and then a smidge ahead of Nick Bonito.
Wow.
It's better than that. That is a super high quarterback hit rate at over 7%. It is going back to 2000.
The scariest part about all that is he gonna get better. He gonna get better. Then people gonna notice him. Then they're not gonna throw certain things. They're not gonna do certain things. They got to find a way to counteract him. And excuse me for this, Jalix, but then you got Andrew McCouble, who coming back, and he gonna be catching all that thing you wanna float over. I see him coming back in his next year being very, very effective. But as of right now, just talking about him strictly as a pass rusher, he up there with some elite talent, man, and he only gonna get better. That's my boy. That's my boy Jalix Hunt. I said something about that earlier. He got that mindset. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got, man. Like, comment, subscribe, turn those post notifications on so you don't miss no video, and we out. Let's go Birds.